What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this is what, June today? I think today it's June. All right. Welcome to the June webinar. This is the Right Rudder Marketing June webinar. If you are here live with us, we are super excited to see you guys today. We have a wonderful topic. Today we're gonna be talking about automations, AI, all the type of stuff that you guys have been seeing. So I'm super excited to get going. We have on here around 10 people, I think, right now. So as people come in, whether you're looking here or whether you're doing your thing, we're super excited to have you on here. So really quick here, we do have some slides we're going to go over, but really what I like to do in these type of setups is have it to be interactive. So if you are here today, we're on a platform called Riverside. So Riverside is this really cool platform for us to do webinars, do recordings, and all type of stuff. What I'd like you to do, just so I know you're here, I'm not just talking in the void. On the right side of the column, there should be a chat, I think, right? There should be a chat, and then go ahead and type hello or something like that with that. That way I know you're here. Let's see what we got here. Do we have anybody here with us live today? We got one in the chat. We got hello. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Seb. Thank you, Igor. We're super excited to have you guys on here. So it's going to be an interactive thing. So I know right now I'm on camera and I'm in here, but I want to believe that I'm in the room with you guys. So let's get started. So we're going to be talking about automations, AI, what we're doing, and it's really, how to, win back some time. I think a lot of people use, automations, AI, computer systems to engineer and make your systems more efficient. That is what we'll be talking about today. So super excited. Let's keep going. So before we take off, like I said, there's a chat bot in here, not chat bot, a chat box with an X. It's in there. Make sure you're able to, interact with that. I think Bruce over here, he says hi. He says hi. What you did earlier, I think you try to join the chat. So if you have enough courage and you want to be on camera with us, then you can also hit the button at the bottom of the screen. And towards the end of it, if you have time, I might let you guys go on stage with me and we can have a discussion with your camera on and we can do all that type of stuff. So without further ado, this is the webinar. It's for flight schools. It's for people that are out there. This recording does, go out to our social media and all this stuff. So make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, whatever it is, all the social media platforms. Also, while I'm at that stuff, I want to talk about our Facebook group. So we are trying to build a community here. If you haven't joined our Facebook yet, it's called the Pilot Owners Lounge or Flight School Owners Lounge. Please join that. We'll send you an email towards the end of the show that has a link to be in that private Facebook group. It's a great place to collaborate and talk about your business, your challenges, and connect with other flight school owners that are out there. All right. So without further ado, my name is Tim. I am the owner of Right Rudder Marketing. I founded it about I want to say 3-4 years ago. We've helped hundreds of schools. I've probably talked to maybe 1,000 of schools. And really what we've seen when we work with these 5 schools that it just continuously grows and grows and grows. So, we had a school that was, less than $1 million, maybe half a mil, $500,000 in revenue, kind of struggling, and then after working with us for a bit, they were able to grow their business and scale up. So we do a lot of stuff with the marketing system and all that type of stuff. By the way, hold on. For my producer, can we change the slide over here in the background and keep up? Okay, so there is this is all what we do here. If you, I lost my train of thought here, but we'll keep going here. So we have helped a lot of people out there inside the country, in the U.S., also internationally. We go to a lot of events. So if you have not met me or my team yet, make sure you show up to these things. We're in Fasai. We're going to be going to Oshkosh. So who out here in the audience is going to Oshkosh, by the way? Anyone going to Oshkosh? Got no one going to Oshkosh. We got Jackie. So Jackie, we will see you at Oshkosh. Me and my team will be down there. See you in a couple of weeks. Anyone else going to Oshkosh? It's just going to be us alone there. Well, we're looking forward to meeting Jackie while we're there. But anyway, over here we have all the people that we've been working with. There's Hawkins Academy over there. There's Blue Skies Above. They're in the Alabama region. High Tide, they're in the East Coast. Summit Flight Academy over in Kansas City. Bottom right over there, bottom left, you have Mexico. So we do work with schools internationally. It's been quite the journey, and we're really happy to continuously serve the industry. So this right here is our crew. This is the people that are on our team. This was taken about a year ago. We have since doubled in size approximately with the people that are in our team. So with that being said, we are able to help more schools. Our goal is really to help 100 schools grow their flight school, enroll more student pilots, double their enrollment numbers, and we're here to serve you guys. So, without further ado, I want to really get into the main kind of topic today. I know that's why we're all here. That's why we're all gathered around here, and we're talking about automation and artificial intelligence. So, before I kind of dive in that, I think it's good starting point to really define and make some definitions of like what is this, right? What is an automation? What is AI, and I think that's what we're going to talk about today. So, really quick here, if you are in the room with us today, just type in the chat what your thoughts are on AI, what your thoughts are on automations, computing systems. I'm kind of curious to know what you guys are thinking about as far as AI and automation. Anyone out there? Yeah, Bruce in there. He's talking about how AI can help grow your business. That's one of the topics we'll be talking about here. Brian says he's excited to learn how to use it here. Let's see if we can do this here. Show on screen. We got Brian over there. Thank you, Brian, for participating. We got Bruce over there. How to grow your business. Let's dive into it. Let's get started. So before I kind of get into all of it, I think we kind of look at AI as this, I don't know, omnipotent, like mythical being that's out there. I think a lot of the news and a lot of the things that are out there, they've really hyped up this AI stuff. And I think we don't want to be in behind the curve. We want to make sure we know what it is. But I want to just put a full disclaimer out there that I do think that the marketing industry, a lot of tech stuff, they really over marketed this thing. And I want to dive into what it actually is, because what I think most the common misconception is that it can just do everything, and it's a I don't know, human being that's not human, but it's artificial, so that's why it's great. But when it gets down to it, it's just an algorithm, right? So I have the first one here. What is an automation? Like an automation has an input, so we call it a trigger or some type of thing that some type of input that comes into a computer system, and then you have an output. So the output would maybe be sending a text message, sending an email, uh, even more simpler, think about how computers used to be, like our phones or laptops. Even back then in the 90s, we had like rooms of servers that would be a calculator, for example. You put in the input as 1 plus 1, and you expect the output to be 2, right? Um, that is kind of what an algorithm and an automation is, and we use it for marketing. When you see like, hey, we got a form submit, or we got someone calling our main line, what actions do we want to take afterwards? Now, automation, all this type of stuff has been around for years, if not decades. Um, Zapier. So Zapier is a really good tool that was really hyped up, especially when I first started doing this marketing stuff. We used Zapier, we used Make. Make is another tool that's out there to do this type of stuff. Um, those are all like, you have inputs, and then eventually it does a certain function, and then you have your output. Um, Artificial intelligence is actually the same thing, but beefed up. So what artificial intelligence, or that's what we're talking about right now, it's called a large language model. So what's happened is that, these engineers, they've inputted this big data set. So it's like, blog posts, websites, communications, documents, everything they can scrounge on the internet. They've really fed this into the AI, or this into this algorithm, and then what the AI is really trying to do is predict the right answer, trying to predict the right output. So do you remember when I said earlier 1 plus 1, and then the output should be 2, right? Well, AI is taking this, but like, let's say it's a book or something like that. Let's say what is the correct entry for a pattern entry, right? Is it, you go in your downwind at 45 degrees. If the AI has a lot of data that's surrounding about pattern entry and all that type of stuff, if you ask this robot how to enter the pattern at a non-towered airport, the right answer will be, hey, enter the 45 at a downwind, whatever, for the runway. Um, they do this by compiling a lot of data together. So these new models that come out, like, you have your Opus, your Composer, what it really is that they've increased the data set. That way AI can output a better result. That way you can prevent the hallucinating and the all these mishaps that happens with AI. Is they want to train the model and give it more data. That way it can give you the output that you're looking for. So I really want to get this fundamental stuff down, because I think if you don't understand this, you're just going to say, "Oh, I want my AI to do this." But you have to understand the mechanism of how this is interacting with you and what you're inputting. That way, it can generate the right output. So I think another thing I'm talking about too is, there's this new job classification out there called like prompt engineering. And what they've really done is, how can we formulate our inputs to be correct? That way I get the output I really want. So a lot of people talk about, if you want to generate text, maybe an email, maybe a blog post or a website copy, or maybe an ad, what's the right way to actually ask and prompt the AI bot in order to give you the right output? Um, that's kind of what that entails, right? But diving in here, let's just keep going. So, we're going to go in three different places where AI can help you. We're going to be talking about automations with your leads. We're going to be talking about automations with discovery flights. And then the last piece we're going to be talking about is how to really have automations in AI understand you as a whole as a business, and then output tools for you to make better decisions. Those are the three main kind of plays we have here. There's way more plays out there with AI, but those are the ones that I've found that I handpicked for today. And that way you can implement it in your business. So the main goal here, if you're attending, is to really get some good content from this, really understand some of the tools that we're using at Right Rudder Marketing and for our flight schools. And what I want you to do is to take this knowledge, to take these information and implement it on your own, and or work with us to implement it. I want you to, take these ideas and run with it and actually do something. So, all right, let's keep going. So the first kind of step here is you need to define the system. So anything that happens with AI, anything that you do with automations, you really want to categorize what things you need to do, or what's your current process and procedures in your business. So in this case right here, we're talking about a discovery flight. So discovery flight is, something that every school probably has. Every school has probably, worked through this process. And there's different steps here. So the first one over here is the discovery form is filled out. So either someone calls you, someone emails you, they fill out something on your website, they look at, this website and they fill it out. And ideally, ideally, this data then gets sent to what's called a CRM. So CRM stands for customer relationship management software. It's basically a database that gets a bunch of inputs, and then ideally with automations and all that type of stuff, you're able to present it and do it and like run with it, right? So looking at this chart here, so this is the typical chart that I've kind of designed for a lot of our flight schools. Is the first thing, they fill out the form, they send the data to the CRM. From the CRM, they get the first hit, like that, an automated email. They get, FAQs, like what to expect, what to do here. Can I bring a friend? Is there a weight limit? That way they kind of know going into the starter flight what's happening. Another kind of sales tool that I've learned is called vanguarding. It's called setting up expectations ahead of time. That way, when someone walks into your school, they already know what to expect. There's no surprises out there. They know, like, hey, I'm about to go on the plane. It's gonna be interesting. The weather might be this. The weather might be that. Here's some common frustrations, and here's what flight training as a whole really involves. If we kind of get that dialed in with this, automated email and all that type of stuff done, it removes some of the buyer friction. So if you're trying to enroll them into your course, you need to make sure you prime them, make them ready. So the first thing after that, after you get the email is ideally someone in your team reaches out manually without automation, without all that stuff, but they get a human touch. So someone wants to contact them, they confirm the flight, and then what you're going to do is you're going to have your system, which in this case is the CRM. They're going to send a reminder text in the email saying, hey, you have a flight tomorrow. Please join us. Please, here's their airport. Here's the directions to the airport. Make sure here's the gate code, whatever it is. Um, then the day of the flight, right here in the middle, they get a reminder text and email again. It says, okay, well, right here, they're about to go flying. This helps prevent no-shows. So if you're texting them and email them, they get an automated text message sequence. And after the flight, they then get another email or some type of asset that says, okay, here's how to start flying. Here's how to become a pilot. Here's the steps. Here's the private pilot, certification requirements. If you want to go in airlines, there's instantly commercial. They have all that information ready to go. From there, if they say yes, then hey, you got a new student. If not, you can then put them on another sequence, which is another diagram over here. That would be your, nurture sequence and all that type of stuff, retargeting ads and all that jazz right here. So I bring this up. So I kind of described a system that should work, because if you want to add automations and AI and all that stuff, this is the very first step. You can't really just go into Claude Code or go into Manus and Victor or ChatGPT, and you can't just do it and run with it. You have to have an outline of what your actual process is, then look at the gap on each step of what I can automate. What are some of the things that I can send out, in my flight school that can save time? Um, and once you kind of define the problem or the challenge, then it becomes very easy to start looking at solutions to automate, whether you want to use certain tools, whether you want to use certain, platforms like Zapier or whatever, you're able to get it then and there. Right. All right, so next slide over here. So this is an example that we built. This is for the post-discovery flight info, right? So what happened was someone filled out a form, they did a discovery flight, then after the discovery flight, this is the automation that gets sent right there. So immediately right here, if you can see here, they get this email. This is for Silk Flight Academy. So one thing to do, so it's, this email is handwritten, but you can use AI to generate good copy for email, right? You can use AI to come up with the right messaging and targeting that you need. But in this case, we have it in our CRM. So right here, there's a trigger. So I remember I talked about inputs and outputs. The trigger here is that the lead that was in the CRM, they uh, they went from here in the opportunities tab, and then moved and said, hey, we did the discovery flight. Someone had a mark in the system, the discovery flight was done. When that when that action was completed, we then send them an email that has all this type of stuff. Hey, glad you enjoyed your day. Here's some information, has attachments, even brochures and all that type of stuff. We then tag them in the system that we know that, hey, this person did a discovery flight. From there, we have follow up. We have another letter that gets sent. And then also after that, we also notify internally our team members, hey, this person did a discovery flight, send them another email, reach out to them and do your thing. So this is one example of automations and AI that we've implemented even before the AI boom that exists. But it's definitely a really easy tool to do. So if you have a CRM, whether it's HubSpot or Salesforce, lazy, what was it called? Lazy CRM, or whatever. We have our own CRM that we give to our flight schools called the Flight School CRM, FSCRM. They all have the similar capabilities. And most of these CRMs run $100 a month. HubSpot, Salesforce, maybe thousands of stuff. You don't really need expensive software to do this. It's cheap. So that's step one. That's stage one. Anyone have any questions on this one here? Anyone have any things about this nurture sequence or follow-up sequence with discovery flights? Going once, going twice. All right, we're gonna keep going. So the next one is missed calls. So this is a really simple one here. Another trick in our tool bag that we've used and effectively gotten students to enroll in our spy schools is catch missed calls. So what we like to do for a lot of our schools is we link the phone system with the CRM. So usually we like to do a swap number. Um, the swap number is a way to really you put this in your marketing. Like for example, your Google business profile has this phone number here, or your ads have a certain phone number. That might not be your main line. That's the phone number for all that type of stuff. And then it will then forward to your main line, but then your CRM now captures it and knows that, hey, you got to call from this number. How many leads did you get per month? We're able to kind of classify that and like get some KPIs. You can then do data recording. You can also do, note taking, all that stuff. We'll get into that pretty soon. Um, but then, yeah, you want to classify the calls and register it. And then if it's for the system and we know if someone answers it or not, that then is the trigger. That's your input. So if I miss a phone call, ideally what should happen is the system should automatically then text the student. Like if I call, Joe Schmo Flight School over in, I don't know, Seattle, and then they don't pick up the phone, maybe they're out flying. Me as a prospect or me as a potential student, my gut reaction is then to call the next school, right? But what you can do if you're too busy to answer the phone, you can then use your automation system to send them a text message. That way, you still got that lead in there, and they still have some engagement. And then they can text you back, say, "Oh, I'm looking for X, Y, Z. I'm looking to get my multi-agent add-on." Um, at that point, when you finally get back from the flight, you can then, what do you call it? Work on that lead and actually get them going, right? So, um, that is another way that we like to use automations and AI in Right Rudder Marketing, and it's just, something that we've done, right? All right, this is the last one here. This quiz number 3 or little, thing is called note taking. So, I wanna say a couple months the flight school not flight school association, I'm sorry. I was at Aero Summit. So Aero Summit was by Strauss Financial. They're doing a show every year. It was over in Miami this year. And what happened was I was on a panel. So that panel was about this exact topic, AI and automations. And really what they were asking was like, hey, what's one good takeaway? If I'm a flight school and I'm, pretty small, I don't have a lot of resources, how can I today um, use AI and automations in my system? I don't have a CRM, I don't have a team, I don't have all this type of stuff, but I want to, be part of the hype. I want to, be able to capitalize on these things. This is actually the number one thing that I offered up because I think this is the most easiest thing that you can do for your flight school, not just for your as a business, but in general. It's something that you can do to really get some immediate impact and big return on investment. So what I recommend doing is you start recording your calls, recording your meetings, record whenever you're meeting with the CFI. Maybe you have a meeting, you put the record button on there, or maybe you're meeting with a student and you hit record during a ground session or something like that. So that way the entire meeting is transcribed and recorded. From there, you're going to start building a library of conversations. And that alone, by the way, is golden. That's worth its weight in gold. Just having a library of transcripts and knowing where you are. That is that's gold. Now, the way that I like to do it, and I have this resource. I have all these like files of transcripts of meetings. What I like to do is then feed this into an AI bot. So that's exactly what I did. I took the recordings, I transcribed them, I downloaded them, I then moved them into Claude Code, and then Claude Code read the transcript. And what I asked Claude to do was, hey, build me an onboarding guide. So I'm going to show you an example, just something that's live in the field here. Let me see if I can do this on my screen. We had let's say a conversation with one of our flight schools that wanted to, work with us. And what we did is we recorded the calls as we go. That's when we let them know that we record the calls. And then I added it into here, and this is all the transcriptions here. And then from there, I used Claude Code, and it basically gave me this output. It's an HTML file. And then from there, this HTML file really defines, what their needs are, what all this type of stuff is. And if you look here, it's right here behind my screen here. This is what it looks like. So this is a business that we were working with. The AI bot was able to listen to conversations. It gave us what they're working on, their core values, unique value propositions. and all that type of stuff. It was able to compile based on our conversation that we've had with the flight school owner, what their programs are, if it's 141 versus 61. We're able to know like what their current state is and what they're moving towards. And then we want to know like, hey, what we're going to be doing, what's our decisions that we had during the calls, and so on and so forth. Now this relates back to here with your school. Let's say you have a struggling student. Let's say you have someone that's not doing too hot. Um, if your CFIs are recording the ground sessions and the lessons and stuff like that, you can then see the progress and just upload to AI. Say, hey, this is the ground session we had with the student. This is what we did with the student. And the AI bot will say, oh, well, he didn't understand what you're talking about when you were talking about slow flight. He didn't know that you have to bring the flaps down and you have to reduce the airspeed. He didn't understand that when you were talking. And then they can give you that insight. They can generate you an HTML page. They can generate you a PowerPoint, whatever you're looking for. It will generate it for you. You just got to ask it, and then it will do it. So that's a really powerful tool I wanted to kind of share with you here. But it's very easy to implement. All you gotta do is just hit the record button. I think there's some apps out there. I was on Facebook, and then there's a thing that goes in the back of I don't have my phone on me, but there's like a device, like a little plate that goes in the back of the phone, and you just magnetize it on this, magnet on your phone, and then it records your conversations. You can turn it on and off. I've also seen the wearables. They wear it. They turn it on and off, and then from there they have this transcript library. Then from the transcript library, that's what you want to do next is whatever you want to do, whether it's creating like a PowerPoint or a document to really understand that conversation. Then you can even ask the AI about, hey, did this person feel XYZ? Was he angry when he said this or something like that? And you can get a second opinion on like what is going on with that conversation. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but this is another way that's more recent that we used AI. So kind of wrapping up here. Let's go here to the next slide here. Take some time. I think really what the best thing to do is to, first define your system, look at your current processes and procedures, make sure you look at what you're doing. And then from there, you can actually determine what to program, what to do. Once you do that, you can then use AI and all that stuff to create cool things. And if you were able to save, let's say 5 hours in a week, that's one working day. And then that equates to about 200 hours to 500 hours a year if you're able to automate some of these steps. So that's some examples here. For us, make sure you define your system. Other parts of it, nurturing leads as well is something that we talk about. Instant reply is a good one to do. I didn't really go too far in depth with the nurture sequences, but you can do on the CRM if you mark them as, hey, this person was did a discovery flight and wasn't really didn't commit to being a student. You can then tag them as, hey, needs follow-up and nurture sequences. You tag them, and then from there, all these emails get sent every week or every month to this guy or a girl, and then hopefully that's retargeting. They get additional information. Then when they're ready to pull the trigger and start flight training, they do it, right? So other ones is, other small fixes over here. You have note taking. Just find small things to automate at first, and eventually they build up over time. So you can get this done in a month. You can get this done in a couple days. It's something that's pretty simple. So that's kind of a wrap of what we got going here. You don't need to be a tech person. You don't have to know all this stuff. You can start today. All you gotta do is define your system, find small problems you can fix and automate, and then use AI to get the fix, or just program that in manually. That way you have these automation sequences going on and on and on. From here you have cutting schedule time using choose tools. You try not to spend too much on AI. I know that we've what do you call it, spent a lot of money on AI and experimenting with this. I only presented four options with you today because there's a lot more that's out there, but I've found that these three bring the most ROI for any business. It's answering the phone. So getting the phone answered, sending automatic test messages, also making sure that all your form submissions have nurture sequences and all that type of stuff done. And lastly, getting notes in AI and making sure that you have transcribed your meetings and recordings. Those are the things that I've found bring the most bang for buck for flight schools and small businesses. Now, there's other things out there like OpenClaw, Victor, and other things that are out there that can do much more stuff. It's still in the trial period, to be honest with you. So I don't think that, there's a new shiny tool out there that we just need to go in full force and invest thousands of dollars into the thing. I think that you really should understand what the tool is. Is it a wrapper of Claude or OpenAI? Is it really worth spending $100 a month for this tool when you can just do it directly with OpenAI ChatGPT? Maybe not. Don't overinvest in all these AI things. I think it's a lot of it's a glorified program. When you look at it, so we I like to use it. I love it. But we want to test it out. You want to make sure it works for your school, and you want to make sure it works for your business. Otherwise, it's not really worth doing it. It's you're going to spend a lot of time programming the AI just to get at what you want, and it's going to be a waste of time. So if you guys can do those 3-4 things that I mentioned earlier in note taking, automated sequences, answering phone calls, transcribing and note questions and all this stuff, then I think you should be able to get some return on this AI stuff. So I will open the chat up here, by the way. So I know we're only like 30-40 minutes in here. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to put it. We have my team here. I think there's a few of us on staff here, myself included. I'm here right down in front of the camera, but we also have Raul back there. We also have Dan and I think Igor and Claudia out there talking as well. This is a fun one that Raul just put in here, asking for reviews. I didn't talk about this one too much, but I can bring it up here. Ask for a review. You can program your CRM to go to different prospects, different people that are graduates of your school, alumni, and then you can ask, hey, you finished your commercial pilot certificate at our flight school. Can you leave us a 5-star review? That's one thing that we've done with the CRM here to really help get our flight schools get more reviews. If they get more reviews, then they're more seen. If they're more seen, you get more leads. If you get more leads, that then equates to more potential students. More potential students then leads to revenue, and then more revenue hopefully gives you more profit and more money in your pocket. So yeah, another question here from Bruce. He's saying, do we need Grasshopper, HubSpot, or something else to do this step? I think he was referring to the automatic callback sequence, and that's usually handled by a CRM. I don't think Grasshopper does automatic text back sequences. However, a lot of CRMs out there, HubSpot, I believe, does it. I know ours does it. Flight School CRM does it. So if you do work with us, you'll get that automatic text back feature. We should be able to implement that for a lot of our schools out there. If you are one of our schools that does not have the automatic text back feature yet, give me or one of my team members a call and we'll get it implemented for you. What else we got in here? Okay. I'll stick around for a couple more minutes and we can end here. All right. Got one more. What recording devices are best for instructors to use in Cockpit and then push to AI to assist training? Okay. So what I've done for me personally is how I've done it. So one is Lightspeed. So if you have a Lightspeed headset, you can download the app. The Lightspeed headset has an app where it does cockpit recordings. Which is pretty cool. From there, you then upload the WAV file or MP3 file to a system. And that system is your transcriber. So here at Right Rudder Marketing, we use a system called Blue Dot. So Blue Dot it costs about, I think, $20 a year per person to use. And what it does is you can upload either a video file or an audio file to the system. It then gives you the transcript to it. And then from there, you're able to ask it questions and do all the type of stuff. So that's kind of what I would recommend if you're looking for the cockpit audio into recording all that type of stuff. Another one that is a little more technical, there are these wires you can buy from Amazon. It splices into your mic, and then from there you can then link it to a audio recorder, whether that's your phone, whether that's some type of box for just audio transcribing. It will then save MP3 or WAV file, and then from that WAV file, you then give it to some type of AI robot, and then that robot then transcribes it for you, and then also gives you things like that. I will actually, let's see if I can. This I don't want to be able to call it. I'll give you an example. Let's see what we have here. So I don't know if I can share my screen here.
Hold up your computer.
My computer?
Hold up your computer. Let's see if I can zoom in.
No, it's. I think it's on that one, right? This computer. I want to share with you something like this. We're talking about the audio transcribe. So this right here is Blue Dot, just what I see right here. You're able to switch the monitor there or no?
You can't.
No, I can't. Okay.
If you hold the laptop up, I can shoot it.
No, it's okay. So another tool that I was going to show you was the Blue Dot recording. I uploaded, a meeting invite to. Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. All right. So here it is. This is some of the meetings we've had. If I click into here, it then transcribes what do you call it? My meeting here, and then I can also do AI chat. Say, was Tim angry? I don't know. Angry, and then it kind of gives you a small little tidbit there. It says, no, Tim was not angry during the meeting. He maintained a conversational and collaborative tone. What action items do we have? You can ask those type of questions. You can ask like, what actions did we have in this meeting, so on and so forth. So I recommend Blue Dot's a really good tool to really have for recording and analyzing audio and meeting transcripts and recordings. So, okay. I think that's the last question we had here, right? Yeah. All right, cool. So we're gonna end here. It's been a pleasure. I know that this is a little shorter than normal. But yeah, AI is pretty fun topic, and we're happy to talk about it I can talk about for hours if you really wanted to. But yeah, let me kind of wrap up here. So over here, let's see here. If you are a flight school, if you're looking to implement AI at your flight school, or if you're looking to do automations, if you're looking to grow your flight school, this is only a small component of the entire system, right? We call it the flight school marketing system. It's we go over your website, the SEO, copywriting, paid ads, your brand authority and your reputation. We get your 5-star reviews. We then do the automations and all this email stuff too. That's the flight school marketing system as a whole, and we implement this for flight schools all across the country. So if you're interested in being a part of that, if you want that for your flight school, give us a call, 314-804-1200. Also email us info@rightruddermarketing.com, or send us a message in the chat or whatever it is. We'd be glad to help you out. Talk to one of me or my team members, and then if you have questions after this call or anything like that, feel free to email us and we'll answer them as best we can. So without that, we're gonna end here. I don't think we have any more questions left here. But yeah, we will see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys next month.